What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to episode 102 of the People's Questions, and today I will be giving you some Resident Evil 6 Mercenaries gameplay online. Now, it seems like you guys have certainly taken my advice to heart and have sent in a significantly amount of questions, and start off real simple with the first 5 questions coming from Mark Main. And your first question is, how is Batman able to survive everything? Is it because he's Batman? No, it is not because he is Batman. Batman is able to really survive most scenarios simply because he is the most cautious and most prepared for any scenario. Uh, Batman is really quite easy to kill, and because he is really easy to kill, he always needs to be prepared for any situation. He's not like Superman, in which, Superman can afford being hit with a car or being punched through a brick wall or having a building slammed on him. Batman cannot afford to have something like that happen to him. So for those reasons, he always needs a way of escape, and I think his training with the League of Shadows has really helped him achieve that level of technical preparation. Next question, would I like to see a Like Mike 3? No. In fact, I wasn't even aware there was a Like Mike 2. After the first one, I thought that was really it. Number 3, should the TV show Arrow and upcoming Flash TV show be in the same universe as Man of Steel movies? No, absolutely not. Because you don't want to mix television shows with movies, because then you kind of limit what the movies can do. I think it's kind of the main problem that Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is having. It's like, it's trying to make you believe that the Agent show is mixed in with the movies when it clearly isn't, and it's best to keep those two apart, because I think you can definitely build a TV universe and not have it interfere with the Man of Steel universe. So no, you should keep those two apart. Next, who is my favorite person in the Resident Evil title voice? Really don't know what you mean by title voice, but I'm guessing maybe something to do with characters, and if you're talking about characters, it's a semi-tie between Leon and Chris, but Leon a little bit more. And your next question is, what do you think Resident Evil 6 would have been like if Wesker had unleashed Ouroboros? If he had released Ouroboros, I think the game would... I think if Ouroboros had been released, then I think all the storylines would have been vastly similar, with each group of parties just taking on the same enemies, and I'm glad they didn't do that for the most part. Leon's campaign was definitely significantly different from Jake's and Chris's, and I think for that reason it made it that much better. The next question comes from Thy Napping Sniper, and you want to know, am I excited for Battlefront 3 and my thoughts on 1313 being cancelled? Yes, I'm absolutely pumped up for Battlefront 3. I love both the two first Battlefronts, and I'm actually surprised that they don't try to re-release them like an HD collection. I would certainly buy it. And I actually do like how DICE is also working on the next Battlefront game. I'm really looking forward to see what they do. But yeah, I am a little upset that 1313 was cancelled. It was really sad to see LucasArts go, because that's been with me for a very, very long time. I think it was cancelled simply because 1313 was really going in a direction that Disney did not want to have any of their Star Wars products going into. Because if some of you don't already know, 1313 was actually supposed to be an M-rated game. And I think that would have been a really great step for Star Wars in the right direction, because it really would have allowed us to really see just how terrible of a world Star Wars can be, because I really think there's a lot you could do with like a mature rated Star Wars universe game, and it's just a shame that at this point we're never going to get that. Next 2 questions come from Criticism Guy 2009, and you want to know, have I seen the trailer for Transcendent starring Johnny Depp and Morgan Freeman? Yes, I have, and it definitely looks like a very interesting movie. I've already set it on my list of movies that I'm going to see this year. I like that it's also being produced by Nolan, and he usually likes to pick projects which stand out from other movies, so I think that's really why I'm interested. And then I've actually heard a lot of people say that this is kind of like a Nolan Jr. product, so I think that's a kind of funny statement to make. So yeah, and Johnny Depp and Morgan Freeman and the rest of the cast look really great, and I definitely like the type of tone that they're saying with the whole, we're going to transfer this guy's mind and turn him into an AI, and then he's going to start taking control. Because it kind of reminds me of the movie Lawnmower Man, if some of you guys have seen that, where you have this normal guy, and then he actually kind of ends up becoming incredibly smart, and then by the end of the movie, he kind of turns into an AI. But that's beside the point. On to your next question, and you want to know what was my favorite feature when it comes to playing story franchise games. I think one of the best features that a story franchise game could do is mix in historical events with its own storyline. And as far as I can tell, no other game has been able to pull that off as flawlessly as the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Now, it's not to say that I don't mind storylines that have nothing to do with history, but I think that when you can incorporate fiction and non-fiction together, you make a story which certainly is much harder to develop and much harder to keep coherent, and I don't think any other storyline that I've ever encountered has done that as well as Metal Gear. But don't get me wrong, I've played tons of story-based games that have truly significantly storylines, but it's just the mixing of the two that really works for me. Next question comes from Nav, and you want to know, have you ever thought about getting into fighting games such as Marvel vs. Capcom and Injustice? Well, Nav, I actually am into fighting games. I do play Mortal Kombat pretty extensively. I've been playing Mortal Kombat since the very first Mortal Kombat. I thought Mortal Kombat 2 was a little bit better. And I do have a lot of the Mortal Kombat games, so maybe if you want to see some gameplay, just tell me that you want me to do some Mortal Kombat in the comments down below, and if enough people want to see that, then I'll be sure to upload some gameplay for that. But I think the only ones that I kind of avoid, I don't like Street Fighter all that much. It just doesn't work for me. And as far as Marvel and Capcom, those are two. I think those are a little bit just too complicated for me to get into. So that's why I've usually kind of stuck with anything involving Mortal Kombat. So Injustice is definitely in that group of fighting games that I definitely enjoy playing. But when it comes to my fighting games, I usually like to fight someone in person. I don't usually like playing online. It's just a much different experience. The next question comes from Mike Styles, and you want to know, what was my favorite subject in high school? Unquestionably, my favorite subject that I had was a class called Digital Media, and as you can tell, it really did factor in very much into what I'm doing now, because that's actually where I learned all the camera skills that I was doing at the time. And believe it or not, I was actually running my school's news program at the time, and I was at the time just very camera shy. I mean, they had offered like, hey Brian, you want to go in front of the camera? It's like, no, so it's kind of amazing how much I've changed in the past 5 years. How 5 years ago you couldn't even convince me to get in front of the camera for a few minutes, and here I am. I have almost over 400 videos of me being on camera, so I think that's pretty fun and unique. The next question comes from a newbie going by the name of I want to apologize if I kind of butcher your name, but it is Giovanni Presicado. I hope I said that right. And you want to know, do I think Ice Cube will make another Friday film in the future? Another Friday film. You know, I actually heard a couple rumors that they were actually going to make another Friday film, and Chris Tucker was definitely on board to be in it. I don't know. I'm not sure if Ice Cube is interested in going back to those type of films. It's really unclear to me. I mean, cause I don't know. I mean, he does have that movie which I believe comes out like later this month. I can't think of what it is, but I think he's with Kevin Hart. I hope I said that right. But I could definitely see him doing a Friday film. I definitely think he certainly could do another one, but I'm not sure if he would be interested in it. So it's really up to him. It's really a 50-50 shot whether he wants to do another Friday film or not. And the last two questions come from Draven G, and you want to know, do I see Wolverine finally getting into the classic yellow costume in the future X-Men movies? Well, if you saw like that little deleted scene which was in Wolverine. There was actually a scene where his friend gives him a case. It actually has the classic Wolverine costume. I don't think we're ever going to actually see him wear it, and I've actually seen the uniform that he does wear in Days of Futures Past, and that does have some yellow, but it's not like the classic yellow. And I think the reason why we're never really going to see that is because when it comes to comic book movies, or especially with the X-Men franchise, you usually want to keep it pretty realistic, and I really can't see Wolverine running around wearing yellow spandex. I mean, wearing a mask. I mean, we've seen Hugh Jackman for like what, over like 5 X-Men films, I really doubt we're gonna see him put on a mask and hide his face. I mean, maybe if they want to reboot the franchise and they want to make more connections with the actual comic book series, then we could see it, but I don't really think the studios and Fox would ever want to go that direction. And your last question is, who would win in a fight between Batman and Snake from Metal Gear Solid? Oh, that's a really difficult one. As much as I love Snake and Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid, I would have to say Batman probably would win. Simply because Snake is a very skilled... He's a very skilled soldier. He's incredibly difficult to take down, but in terms of overall martial skills, he really doesn't have anything that Batman hasn't already experienced. And it's even safe for me to say that Snake is somewhat of a downgraded version of Deathstroke. I would even say Deathstroke's a lot more deadlier than Snake. I mean, Snake has experience against taking on giant mechanical machines, but I don't think he's actually taken on someone who's had the extensive amount of battle experience or single battle experience as Batman. And if anything, Snake knows a good amount of martial arts fighting styles. Batman knows dozens of fighting styles and knows so many techniques that I don't think Snake would be prepared for. And it's even easy to believe that Batman has experience using CQC, and that's clearly Snake's best fighting technique. So it's just the fact that Batman has more experience on one-on-one combat in a variety of scenarios and has spent more time training. But it's not to say that Snake hasn't spent a good amount of time training as well. I just think Batman's training was much more intense and meant to prepare him for almost any scenario than Snake's, his training was really meant to prepare him for fighting on the battlefield as opposed to being able to fight in just about any environment. And I think that's what will give Batman the edge. Plus his gadgets are just... his gadgets alone would throw off Snake. I mean, Snake has guns and he has gadgets of his own, but they're not quite as vast as Batman's. And that's why I think Batman would come out the winner. And with that, those are all the questions that you guys sent in this week. I'd like to thank all of you guys for making this episode incredibly fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed my gameplay. If you have any more questions that you would like to ask me for future episodes of People's Questions, please be sure to type them in the comments down below. And be sure to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to keep track of me, my future episodes of the People's Questions movie and video game reviews. And you also press one of the links in the description down below to follow me on Twitter and friend me on Facebook, and I will be sure to friend you and follow you back. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and enjoy the end of this gameplay.